Good afternoon, everybody. Just doing a quick shop update slash this is going to be a rant video about why I work on my own stuff. So, first thing, picked up a couple things at Canadian Tire today. I had to go get my daughter a bike helmet. So, stopped. I got this tool bag. This was on sale. It was like 18 bucks or whatever. It's just going to go in the Jeep. I have all my tools, like some of my spare tools, other than the sockets that I keep them in this ammo can. But I'm finding that's a lot of weight for the drawer system I have in the back of my Jeep, so I decided I'm going to put them in this tool bag and see if that works. And I also picked up this tire pressure gauge. It's a different one. I'm trying a different way and see if this fits in the beadlock rims a little bit better. So another update, quick thing. You'll notice that my engine that I had sitting here underneath the blanket, it's gone. I ended up selling it for 500 bucks to a guy and ended up making 50 bucks on that parts truck. This transmission that's sitting here, that's a 4L60E that was in my truck that's toast, so it's probably just going to end up getting hauled to the scrapper. There's a guy coming this summer sometime to haul a bunch of cars away from my mom and dad's place. We got to get them ready to move into town, so that'll probably end up out there too. This thing I got behind the welding bench that expanded metal, that's just a little, it's hard to see, but it's a little table I just kind of whipped together. It's a tabletop that I put on top of those blue sawhorse that I have up there. I made that as basically just like a quick welding table because I've been welding on my workbench and stuff, and I was having trouble. I was kind of scorching the top of my bench and whatnot. So now into the rant video. I'm gonna see if I can figure out how to turn this thing around here. No, it doesn't look like it's gonna turn around on me. So I'll just shoot a picture of the video of the Jeep while I rant. So. Why I work on my own stuff. So right now I've got my Jeep plated, so I've parked my truck for the summer, for the summer, and then we'll see. I might probably plate it again in the fall. But about a month or so ago, I went to use my park brake on my truck. My truck has an automatic in it, and you often don't use your park brake very much when you have an automatic. And my park brake wasn't working. So then I remembered, oh yeah, last fall it wasn't working either, but I didn't have a chance to have a look at it because I was working on some other stuff and I kind of forgot. Like I said, you don't really use your park brake much when you're using your automatic transmission. So I got looking, I got thinking, oh, maybe just need to adjust the tensioner on it or whatever. So I bring my truck into the shop and I pull the right rear wheel off, the passenger side rear wheel. I pull the brake rotor off. I just put new pads on the back this last fall, during the winter here. Pull the brake rotor off, and there's no parking brake shoes on that side at all. Well, that would explain why my parking brake's not working. So I got thinking, when was the last time anybody's done any work in there that wasn't me? Because the last thing I'd done was put pads on, and the rotors are in good shape, so I never bothered taking the rotors off. So I got remembering that a local tire chain here in town, I'm not going to mention them, but they're not Kel Tire, they're the other one we have in town. They had put new tires on my truck, so this would have been like about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I'd had a wheel stud in that axle had been spinning, and I actually had an extra one sitting in the cup holder in the center console because I was going to put it in. I'd forgot to mention it to them. So anyway, I go pick up my truck, they got the new tires, and they're like, yeah, we had this, this wheel stud was spinning, so we put a new one in. I'm like, oh, not a big deal. You know what? It needed to be done anyway. Well, that was the last time anybody had that wheel off to do any labor, like to work underneath that brake rotor. So I was thinking, did they have to pull the brake shoes off to put a wheel stud in? So I went down the next day and I asked the guy, one of the owners of this shop, hey, if you were to put a wheel stud in the back axle of a truck like mine, would you pull the park brake out? He's like, yep. I said, is there any fucking reason, pardon my language, why you didn't put it back in? And he just kind of looked at me with a stunned look. I'm like, yeah. You guys put a wheel stud in there and you never put the park brake back in. I was stunned. And he looked at me, he didn't even know what to say. And I'm just like, I'm never bringing anything here ever again. And this is also the place I had some stuff done with my Jeep that I was having trouble turning the front wheels after I put it together. I thought maybe I'd clocked the steering box wrong when I put it all back together. They had it down for 2 days. Luckily, they didn't charge me a lot of labor, but they had it for 2 days. And these are professional journeyman mechanics. And they couldn't figure out why it wasn't turning. They told me, oh, we pulled the front drive shaft off. Now it's working fine. No, it hadn't changed anything. I got it home. Like I said, I'm a certified YouTube mechanic or weekend warrior, whatever you want to call myself. Within 20 minutes, I figured out that the front locker was engaged. I'm not a professional. They are, and they couldn't figure that stuff out. So, between all those things, this is why I work on my own stuff, because I'm sick of getting burnt by mechanics. And, there's great mechanics out there. One of my best friends is a journeyman mechanic, and he's fantastic. And I have another shop that if I do have to take something to a shop, I take it there because I trust them entirely. But this shop I'm talking about, they burnt me completely, and I will never, ever take anything there again. I even get free flat repair with the tires on my truck because that's where I bought them from. I will pay to get flat repair done at the other shop because I refuse to take my stuff back there. So other things too, labor rates have gone up. I mentioned in a previous video that I had to get the rear wheel bearings on my car. I was getting a warning for the traction control and the brake control. So I tracked it down if I realized it was a wheel bearing, but I just have an engine code reader. I don't have a chassis code reader. So I needed to take it to somewhere. So I took it to the local dealership here and just said, I need you to scan it. Just let me know what side needs to be done. And they put it on the lift and they did that. And they also found an oil leak, which, great, thanks for finding it. So they phoned me, let me know it's scanned, good to go, and that it actually was both wheel bearings. All right. So by the time they priced it out and estimated everything, they wanted $1,050 to change 2 wheel bearings and an oil filter adapter gasket. Well, after I hung up the phone with him, I phoned a local parts store, one of them, and I got all the parts for under $400. And so I went to go pay for my scan, and he's like, here's the work order. I'm like, yeah, I already told you I'm doing it myself. And he just kind of looked disappointed. Of course, that's a big, it would have been a big ticket for them, and I understand that. They got to make their money, but I got to save money where I can. I'm on a big budget. So I got the parts for under $400. The one side took me about 3 hours to get off because it was rusted on there pretty good. The other side I got changed in and out in half an hour. Easy job. Oil filter adapter was pretty easy. I just said to pull the tire off, pull the wheel well out, drop the air conditioner pump. It's 3 bolts, not a big deal, or 2 bolts, whatever it was, 3 bolts. I was done that part in about an hour. So, and while I was doing it, I'd found the tires that are on the front of the car were brand new when I bought the car. I'd only had the car for a few months by this point. The back tires had decent tread, but one of them was pretty dry rotted. And with winter coming, I didn't want to put it back on. So I called up the tire shop, the Cal Tire we have in town, which was, like I said, the opposite of the other one we have, and asked, do you have any of these tires in stock? He says, yep, we have 5. I said, I'll be down, I need 2. And so by the time I bought the tires, it was a little over $300 for those 2 tires. So I not only fixed the problem that I had, plus came across another problem and fixed that problem, and I was still $400 or so ahead of what the dealership wanted to charge me to do that job. So, when I've talked in other videos about how tools save me money, between that and some other jobs, like my transmission job that I was mentioning before I bought a parts truck, I'd had to do a transmission in that truck before. It's a $1,500 job at the dealership because it's 10 hours just to take it out and put it back in again. Well, I bought an entire parts truck for $600, got my truck running. This was 3 years ago. I'm still driving on that transmission. My dad needed a radiator for his truck. I gave him the radiator out of it. Sold the bed rails for $50, sold the rims off of it for $100, and sold the engine for $500, and ended up giving the rest of the truck away to a guy who needed some parts just to get it out of the yard. I made $50 on the truck. And if I didn't have the tools, I would have had to pay the dealership, or as I sometimes call it, the stealership. I would have had to pay them to do it. So, and all the work I did on my Jeep here, I can tell I've done a lot of work to this thing. Even this, I fixed my own tires the other day. I changed that other valve stem. Got it in and out in about 2 minutes. All the labor I would have had to pay at a dealership or at a shop to do that, I wouldn't have been able to do this build. Probably double or triple my cost in labor to do it. So anyway, that's my rant for the day. I'm sorry I couldn't figure out how to do the flippy thing here. I'm not very savvy with the phones and whatnot, so I'm an old school guy. So I'm gonna kind of put these tools away. I might go lay down and have a nap because I only had a few hours of sleep last night. I had to go get my daughter early this morning. So you can see also too, I meant to show this the other day. That's what those wood things on the wall in my shop are for. That's where I hang my doors. So they're a little bit of a bear to hang them up there, but I'm a nice tall guy, so luckily it works out. But they fit up there, and I'll probably throw them on tomorrow. I'm gonna take my daughter for a Jeep ride. I asked her if she wanted to go on one this morning on our way home, and she was pretty excited. So throw them back on. But if it's nice, we'll leave the top down and we'll just go for a little rip around town. So anyway, that's my rant. I appreciate everybody listening to me. And again, I apologize for not being able to figure out how to flip the phone around. I want to say thank you to the last tool update video that I did was about 3 months ago, and it's over 3,800 views, which blows my mind. And a lot of my friends laugh at me for making these videos. It's just something I kind of do for fun. But when I tell them that, I've got a video that's going for 3,800 views, they're just like, what? And then when I tell them it's about tools, they're just like, really? I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of other cool guys like me out there. So anyway, everybody have a great day. Thanks for listening to me vent. And if you have any comments about similar stories or, things that you've come across, working on your own stuff or ridiculous estimates that you've got to have work done, please comment below. I'd love to hear them. Thank you.